5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The pit stop is vital to every race team's success. Pull off the track, let your team go to work.
Outside, clear.
Change all 4 tires, fill the fuel cell, and make needed adjustments, all in 8 seconds or less.
Hey, how many times have you had a chance to be part of something from the ground floor level, starting at the very beginning? Well, I've had that pleasure several occasions in my life, and they've all been exciting and sometimes trying, and sometimes nerve-wracking, but I am so thrilled because we are on the verge. I want to say welcome to the pits are open. Will Marotti, your host. Alex Smith, our engineer, producer, and of course, all the fine folks watching on Speed Sport 1. We are close to launching something that I'm extremely excited about. It's something that I believe will be a help to many drivers, many smaller teams, team managers, team owners. It's called Speedway Venture Studio. And it is a model that will help teams be able to reduce their dependency on sponsorship dollars, which it's all about. Racing, a lot of people are confused thinking that racing is a meritocracy like other sports. It's not. If you're extremely fast or extremely quick or extremely great hand-eye coordination, you could be a great basketball player, baseball player, football player, track star, soccer star. There's a lot of sports that just because of your skill level, you can reach the top. You can go as high as you might desire. That's not true in motorsports. Motorsports has always been a capital sport. It's how much money do you have? And unfortunately, all of us know, or many of us who are in the sport, many of us know drivers who are sitting on the sidelines wishing they could compete, but they just don't have the funding. They don't have generational wealth behind them. They don't have a business, large business portfolio behind them. They don't have 25 car dealerships or a chain of restaurants or 100,000 trucks to lease. They're just regular folks, but they could be maybe the next Jim Clark, maybe the next Mario Andretti, maybe the next Al Unser, maybe the next Alex Palou. They just don't have that ability because they don't have the backing behind them. And so we're going to try to, we are going to create and offer this system that will help drivers that don't have generational wealth, that don't have teams that don't have huge sponsorship backing, be able to generate an enterprise value around their careers, enterprise value around their team, so that they can compete without having to count 100%, 80%, 90%. We'd love to cut it down to 50%. We'd love to get a budget that was down to only 50% dependency on sponsorship. We'll always need sponsors, and I'm not saying anything. I'm not being degrading about sponsors. Sponsors are great. We love sponsors. We have to have sponsors. Sponsors are wonderful, but sponsorship is getting harder to come by, and the sponsor pool is shrinking. And so we are getting ready to launch Speedway Venture Studio. The first iteration of that will be our private group called SVS Insiders. This is for drivers. This is for parents of young drivers. This is for kart racers. This is for sim racers. This could be for team managers, small team owners, anybody that's chasing dollars regularly for sponsorship and for budget. We're getting ready to launch that very soon. We're in the final testing stages of that now. And that'll be, we're looking for 150 founding members. And because of that founding designation, you get special treatment, special pricing, special benefits. And all of that will be released exclusively to our weekly newsletter group, the Pits Are Open newsletter. So if you haven't already signed up for it, please go to our website, thepitsareopen.com. You'll find when you get on, there's a banner across the top. Just click on. You got to wait a second as they make sure you're not a robot or an alien to make sure. And then you'll go to be able to sign up for our weekly newsletter, and we'd be so proud and honored if you'd be there. Even if you don't want to be part of the group, but just want to stay in tune with what's going on with not only the SVS Insiders group, but also the Pits Are Open show. It's how we get our information out to our folks that watch it. Segment information, who's coming on, and so on and so forth. So that's exciting. We're going to be doing that soon. And then hopefully around Indy 500 time, we'll be releasing and introducing the full entourage of Speedway Venture Studio, and we'll be off and running, as they say. Big weekend in Miami, Formula One. What'd you think of that, Alex? You're a big F1 guy. McLaren had to be happy, huh?
Yeah, there were a few interesting things. I mean, between Max spinning out and saving it, that was impressive.
Wow.
I'm excited for Kimi though. He's got a lot going on.
He does. But McLaren seemed to be pretty
after
strong.
a month of no races, they had a lot of time to develop. So not surprised.
Well, I did something I rarely do. I watched the race on Apple TV.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I don't. I'm not an F1 guy. I'm not. But I thought, what? I had the time.
Oh, and I felt so bad for Leclerc at the end. He brushed the wall and
yes,
he dropped like 5 places, and then he got I think a 20-second penalty after the fact.
He was leading in beginning stages.
Yeah.
He looked pretty good. Looked strong.
After they reviewed, he left track limits several times, so they gave him another penalty. Or maybe it was Max too. I think Max got a penalty for that too.
It was not a good day.
Miami is always an interesting race because the barriers they don't move. If you hit them,
they're very solid. Yeah, very much like IndyCar. When you hit a barrier, IndyCar, you're going to lose. So that was good. And of course, we had a great test last week at Indianapolis, and got 2 days, a day and a half of testing in, and we're off and running. It's the month of May, and so the Grand Prix is coming up, and then we start practice, and then we have qualifying and carb day and the Indianapolis 500, the 110th running. So excited. Anyway, so we've got a great show for you today. We've got a real expert, a historian, an author who's written a number of books, and his latest book is all about someone who, if you've been watching Indy for a long time, you'll know this name, Tom Carnegie. Tom was for many years the track announcer, and he had a very famous way, particularly in qualifying, of saying something about when drivers went really quickly, and what he would say is, "It's a new track record." And he would really whip the crowd into it. He was something else. Well, we're going to have the author of that book, It's a New Track Record, with us, Rick Schaeffer. He's going to tell us about that and some other books that he's written as well. The times that they broke through barriers and set new track records at Indianapolis. And then later we're going to have, bottom of the hour, we're going to have Taylor Reimer, Taylor's been on before, but I asked Taylor to come back because she had a great race at Talladega 2 weeks ago. And I think she finished 6th, which is amazing. She's not had a lot of super speedway experience, and to be able to finish in the top 10 at Talladega is like a win. And so she did. So we're going to have Taylor on talk about her first race at Dega and how it went. And so we got a lot going on. Right now we're going to take a quick break, show some love to some of our sponsors. We'll be back. Don't go away. When we get back, Rick Schaeffer, and It's a New Track Record. You can't wait.
This segment is brought to you by America's Christian Credit Union. If you want your money working for you without stepping away from your values, take a look. Right now, America's Christian Credit Union is offering a 12-month certificate at 4.5%. That's right, and that's one of the highest rates in the nation, and it's all available for a limited time to new members only. You can open with as little as $1,000 or invest up to $1 million. It's called a term share certificate, similar to a CD, but it's grounded in mission. Lock in your rate while it's still available. Visit americaschristiancu.com/pits to...
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Pits Are Open. Will Marotti, your host. Alex Smith, our engineer, producer, and you guys. And we're so grateful to have you watching. Please, again, if you haven't gone to our newsletter, pitsareopen.com, our website, and then sign up for our weekly newsletter, Pits Are Open, and you'll get all the information you want. And also, if you're watching as a recorded piece on YouTube, please subscribe, like it, subscribe, comment. And then also on Spotify, if you're listening with the podcast, follow us on Spotify as well. Well, again, I've been an IndyCar fan most of my life, since I was a little boy. And all those early days, I remember hearing the same voice as the track announcer, and it was Tom Carnegie. And he made so much of qualifying. Qualifying, when particularly back in the day, was done over 2 weekends at Indianapolis, and we had cars bumping. In '82, I mentioned this last week, and I mentioned it in a LinkedIn article I wrote a couple weeks ago. '82 was the high water mark. They had 109 entries at the Indianapolis 500. I think they tried to qualify 64 of those cars, and now we're lucky if we get 33. And that's what we have this year. There'll be no bumping. Everybody that's there is going to make it in, and I think it's kind of sad, but that's okay. We're going to get back to it. Anyway, joining us now for the first time, historian, expert, Indy 500, and so happy that he's with us, Rick Schaeffer. Rick, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I guess this makes me a rookie then, right?
Well, you're a rookie. We'll take the stripes off as soon as the interview's over. But and no relation to the oil company. So that will just help you.
We may have spelled our name that way at one time, but
so happy. I found out about you from Judy Stropus, who's a mutual friend, and Judy reached out, wanted to know if I wanted an author, an Indy 500 author on. And I said, yeah. So here we are. Rick, tell us a little bit about your background, how long you've been an author, what got you into writing, and some of the other books, and then we'll focus on It's a New Track Record.
Well, just to start with, I got interested in racing, I guess, 62 years ago.
Wow.
And, I was not quite 10, living in Indianapolis, and my father recognized my growing interest in racing, so in the fall of that year, he took my brother and I out to the museum for the first time and the track, and we got a lap around the track in the bus, and he didn't realize he created a monster because my big brother said, "Dad, you got to take us to the race now." So he thought I was maybe a little too young for that much excitement, so they waited until 64, and that was my first 500. So I was actually very good friends with Robin Miller, and that kind of steered me towards journalism. So I got a degree in journalism from Butler University in 1974, and ultimately, my journalism career led me to my racing career, which I started out being publicist for Tony Bettenhausen's IndyCar team, and had 3 drivers: Stefan Johansson from Formula One, Patrick Carpentier, and then a very nice Brazilian kid named Castroneves. I'm not sure if you've heard of him or not, but he was my last driver, and then from there, at the end of my PR stint with Bettenhausen, I got a chance to do my first book, which was the Autocourse History of Cars for first 20 years. So, and so after that, I got to co-author the 500 history book with Donald Davidson, and did my third book 5 years ago, the 500 on the Indy 500. And then I happened onto this very nice British company called Evro Publishing Limited. Yeah. And through Judy Stropus. And she put me together with the editor, and they liked my idea. And so here we are. And
there you go.
Judy's been a dynamo. I wished I'd had her work with me before. So.
Boy, she's done a lot in her own right.
Absolutely.
With timing and scoring. I mean, she's brilliant. You mentioned Bettenhausen. I think we lost one of the Bettenhausens last week.
Yes, Merle
Bettenhausen
suffered a stroke on Good Friday, and just from what I heard, the prognosis was not very good. So it's one of those things I think was a blessing. And
sure.
He's with his brothers and his parents now. So
he was a character. He's a character, though. Merle's a character. Met Merle many times. One of the things you mentioned, we've come a long way from the time that you fell in love with IndyCar racing and I fell in love with IndyCar racing. Come a long way where, and in some ways, good ways. I mean, I remember back in the day, and you do as well, every year it wasn't a question of who was going to get killed at Indy. Somebody was going to get killed at Indy. One, usually in like early 72, I think we lost we lost somebody in qualifying, we lost somebody in the race, and then 73, and it would run that way generally. That if we didn't lose them in qualifying, we could have lost them in the race. Very dangerous, and now still dangerous, but it's a lot safer. It's as safe as it's ever been right now. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, knock on wood, they haven't had a fatality for an IndyCar driver at Indianapolis in I think 23 years now.
Yeah.
And that was Tony Renna back in a fall test in 2003. But, interestingly, my first 500 was 1964. They lost 2 drivers in that race, Eddie Sachs and Dave McDonald on the second lap. But 73, things kind of got, even though they're going so fast, things got safer. You really didn't have that many more drivers in the next, 50 years lose their lives, which is good. So that's a good thing.
I remember 73. I mean, Gordon Johncock's first win, and we had that massive first lap accident. Before the first lap, they're coming over the start-finish line with a Salt Walther pinwheeling upside down and throwing fuel everywhere. And then when they finally had the race, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 2 days later, and then we had the massive crash with Swede Savage and his eventual passing from that. But relatively okay, except again, you mentioned the Tony Renna story. That's interesting because it was practice session, testing session. I don't think there's any footage of that crash. I don't think there's really any photo history of what happened there with Tony Renna. And
occasionally you'll have people take private photos, like if they're at the museum. But when his accident was on the between turns 3 and 4. So again, it was just a private test session. So there wouldn't be any reason to have any kind of media coverage for it.
Yeah. So many good things have happened in those years. I remember 1977, first woman, right, ever qualify for a 500.
Yeah, Janet Guthrie, I think she broke down, by making the race, it kind of broke down every barrier. After that, it didn't matter, what made you different from anybody else. You got a chance to race, so that was a very good thing.
And we were talking off camera before the show about Ontario when Ontario opened, and they broke 200 in IndyCars more times at Ontario at that time than they had even once at Indy. But 77, we had the first solid 200-mile-an-hour pass with Tom Sneva. Right.
Actually, they had gone 200 at Ontario for their 500, and I want to say Jerry Grant actually did the lap. So
was he in the Mystery Eagle?
Yeah, Mystery Eagle.
Yeah,
and I think I'm right on there. I'm an expert on Indy, not Ontario. But
no, you're probably right though. You're more.
What happened was 73, 72. Bobby Unser was less than 4 miles away from 200 mile an hour. But they had 73, they came even closer, but then they had all the accidents and the fires. So that's when they made the wings smaller and took the fuel out of one side of the car and tried to do everything to make the car safer. So it took them until 77 to get back up there where they started doing 200 mile an hour laps at Indy. So.
And the other thing I remember of 77 is A.J. Foyt.
Yeah, he gets his 4th win, and nice thing he did was he had Tony Holman actually accompany him in the pace car on the lap of honor. Nobody had ever done that before. So, and then that fall, Mr. Holman passed away. So, I mean, that was certainly.
And not only that, the other tragedy of 77 is we lost Sid Collins, the great announcer. We lost.
Yes, if you couldn't go to the race, you listened to Sid. So,
well, that was my first for years. I listened before I ever saw it on they would do the delay. They'd show the race after the race on Sunday night on ABC. So, hey, Rick, we got to take another break. A little sponsor love. So we'll be back. And when we get back, I want to talk about It's a New Track Record and Tom Carnegie. Stay with us, folks.
This segment is brought to you by Redline Ace. In racing, image isn't extra. It's part of the competition. Redline Ace understands that, and they build visuals that command attention the moment you roll onto the track. Located just minutes from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Speedway, Indiana, Redline Ace specializes in high-performance motorsports graphics trusted across every level of competition. From custom car apps and full team branding to helmets, haulers, hero cards, and more, they make sure your presence matches your performance. See the difference for yourself at redlineace.com and find out why champions trust Redline Ace to keep their image in victory lane.
All right, welcome back to Picture Open. And I've got a great first-time guest. I say first-time guest, he's hardly a rookie, but he's a first-time guest. Rick Schaeffer is an author. He's written a number of books about racing, Indy 500, and his latest offering is called It's a New Track Record. And so many of us who grew up around the Indy 500 remember Tom Carnegie and remember Bump Day and remember qualifying. And those were the words you could, as soon as he started, you knew what was coming. It's a new track. How did you land on Tom and his famous saying as the subject of your book, Rick?
Well, the funny thing was the original version of this book I had titled Decade of Speed.
Okay.
And I just thought something flat about that.
Okay.
And of course, having been at the track so many times and hearing Mr. Carnegie, I thought, now this would be, since I'm talking about so many records being broken, why not use that for a title? I thought that was just very eye-catching. And so that's how that title came about. And actually, the book was suggested to me by a racing photographer named Steve Snoddy after my first book came out in 1999. And I always wanted to do the book. This is like something in my mind for over 20 years.
Really? Wow.
Sadly, Steve passed away in 2009, but I dedicated the book to him. I thought if I read this book written and published, I'm going to dedicate because it's his idea. It's a great idea. And I got to witness 9 of those 11 races myself. So
wow.
I got interested the first year of 62.
Well, I mean, that's kind of, I go to from then up through the maybe early 70s. I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm sentimental about it. But I kind of feel like that was the golden era. I mean, others would argue with it depending on what generation they're from. Louis Meyer won 3 times. That's the golden era. But I just felt like you had so many personalities. You had so many amazing track records set. You had multiple time winners for the first time. So many, we still haven't had, I think, we've only had, 3 or 4 back-to-back winners? And 6, okay. And Al Unser Sr. was a back-to-back winner, 70, 71. You had so many of those things happening during that era. Do you think that was a great era for IndyCar racing from the maybe early mid-60s to the mid-70s?
Well, what sold me on that idea from Steve was that he approached the subject. He said, hey, if you're looking for another book idea, think of the years 62 to 72. He said, think of all the great cars, drivers, and teams that came through there. And, I thought, yeah, we absolutely right. That is a great idea because it was a fascinating area. We'd had an invasion of foreign drivers and teams before, but, the second one kind of coincided with the Beatles coming to America. So I always thought that was kind of interesting. And of course, you had, the jump in speed, 46 mile an hour from Parnelli going 150 in 1962 to Bobby Unser going over 196. That, you never had that big of a jump in such a small number of years. So that's what made it interesting. Of course, you look at the way the cars, 1960 was the last 500 you had all front engine cars. Yep. And by 1969, every car for the first time had the engine behind the driver.
Your engine. Was Jim Hurtubise the last person to qualify a roadster at Indy?
Yes, he's 68. His Mallard made the race. And funny thing was, the year before, Parnelli had the turbine car. It wasn't really front engine. It was side engine because of the unique I-beam suspension setup. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Again, the innovation back then was incredible. Innovation in engines, innovation. I mean, there were so many. I remember there was a car, I don't know if it actually ever qualified. Smokey Yunick had a car. They had it in the museum for a while. I mean, I know I haven't seen it recently, but it had a sidecar. It was like a car with a sidecar on the driver's side. You could not have paid me enough money to sit in that sidecar. To me, that was just the ultimate danger zone.
The thing was, the car concept came because after Jimmy Clark in 63 did one pit stop because he had such a lightweight car and got such good gas mileage on the Fairlane V8 engine he used, everybody wanted to add fuel tanks. So essentially, Smokey built a fuel tank with an engine behind it, and it's like, Smokey, you forgot the cockpit. So he put what had to have been a motorcycle sidecar. They actually called it the capsule car. But Bobby Johns was originally signed to it. And when he was having trouble getting up to speed, they put Dwayne Carter in.
Yeah.
And Carter had it practicing in laps that would have made the race.
Yeah.
But you had an interesting contractual conflict. Smokey had a long time tie to Autolite spark plugs. Okay. And Dwayne Carter was on Champion's spark plug highway safety team that went to high school. So he got kicked out of the ride. They put Bobby back in it. And unfortunately, he crashed the car trying to qualify in the last weekend. So
a lot of innovation. And again, I still love the 500. I still go every year. I love it. I can't wait to go and can't wait to be there. And I can't wait to go to the museum. I'll tell you, there's two places on the planet Earth that when I go there, they kind of transport me back to my childhood. One is Fenway Park in Boston, because I've just loved the Red Sox forever, before the Indy cars even. And then the other is the track in the museum. I just feel like it really takes me back to when I was a kid, and seeing those cars and hearing those cars, and I love listening to it on the radio. Let's get back to Tom Carnegie for a little bit. So, what can you tell us about Tom Carnegie?
Well, he was the sports anchor for what then was the NBC affiliate in town here. And I think he started broadcasting at the track after World War II. And of course, that was the new era, because you had Tony Holman had purchased the track from Ratty Rickenbacker, and Wilbur Shaw was made the president. And obviously, his voice lent itself to what was going on there at the track. So, he became part of the scene, and it was neat when he just got wound up in those qualifying runs. And of course, he also would do the race, and so I got to witness his work both as the track announcer, but he also did local basketball games, like for Butler University, and in addition to his duties at the station. So he was a man, quite well known and seen and heard. So
yeah. I mean, I can't imagine Tom doing a basketball game. That must have been a trip. He was. Do you think Indy was his favorite? I mean, of all the stuff that he did do you think Indy was really where his heart lie? I don't know how else to describe it.
Well, think about again, it's a new track record. You didn't hear him say something like the equivalent of that in a basketball game, right, right. He couldn't do that when he was on air announcing the sport. So. Without knowing firsthand, I would say, it sure sounded like it. The enthusiasm he had was incredible. And the nice thing is they got a young man named Dave Calabro, who's been doing it for a few years.
Dave does a great job.
Like Tom, he's got that booming voice, and so.
Yeah, but I go back to golden era stuff, right? We had the legendary, at the same time we had Tom Carnegie, had the legendary Pat Vidan as a starter. The guy that, they made him leave the track at some point, but he used to do the flagging, from the track. And it was so amazing back then.
They had a little platform for him to stand on when, like at the start, but he would, when they would finish a qualifying run or when the race would finish, he would get down there actually on the track and flag that. And after the 73, the big wreck with Salt Walther, they decided maybe they needed to have the starter with a little better view. Yeah. And actually, the person telling him what to do was the chief steward at the time. So that's when they built the first tower there on the outside of the track. And I'm sure that made his job a lot easier, a lot safer.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. How can folks, if folks want to get your book or any of your books, Rick, what's the best way to get a hold of your writings?
I've been telling people, just Google search the title. It's a new track record / Rick Schaeffer. See what comes up. I mean, there's a number of locations that are selling it. I know the bookstore chains, Barnes & Noble and Books A Million carry it. So, but that's, there's a lot of people I'm not aware of that probably are selling it too. Just,
So let me ask you a question, because I've got a couple books out, and I know that if they go through Amazon, I get a very tiny commission. If they go to my publisher site, I get a much larger commission. So
I've never gotten a commission from Amazon before. I'd like to know how you did that.
I get huge checks from Amazon every quarter, like $16.08. So do you have a publisher that you would prefer people go to?
Well, I mean, you can order through Evro Publishing Limited. They're in England, of course. So, but there's some good outlets you can get here in America, obviously.
Sure.
Including my previous publisher, Coastal 181. So.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I would love to have you back, Rick, and tell us about more of the books that you've written prior to It's a New Track Record. You think we can get you back on sometime?
I'd love to.
All right, that'd be great. Rick Schaeffer, everybody, go Google the book. It'll come out. I know it's on Amazon. I found it there. It's a New Track Record. It's incredible. Go get that book. Hey, Rick, thanks so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Will. I appreciate having me on.
All right. Hey, we're going to take a break, a little bit more sponsor love, and then we get back. Yes, I've been telling you about Taylor Reimer's coming on with experiences from Dega, the Talladega race that she did so well in. Can't wait to talk to Taylor, so stay with us. We'll be
This segment is brought to you by Schaeffer Manufacturing. Schaeffer Oil. When performance is non-negotiable and equipment is pushed to the edge, Schaeffer shines. This is protection that shows up when things get pushed to their limit. Their advanced lubrication technology reduces friction, runs cleaner, and lasts longer. And it prevents the kind of breakdowns that cost time, money, and momentum. That's why professionals in trucking, farming, and racing all trust Schaeffer. No gimmicks, no shortcuts. Just performance that holds up. Learn more at schaefferoil.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Pits are open. Will Marotti, your host, Alex Smith, our producer, engineer, and joining us for, I don't know, maybe the third time, probably, is driver par excellence. She's an emerging driver, born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Could be like, what is that? It's Tulsa King? Is that the show with Sylvester Stallone? Raced go-karts, became one of the winningest drivers at Port City Raceway. She had a standout college career at Oklahoma, University of Oklahoma, D1 championship cheerleader. Now she's racing ARCA Menard Series, and she just had, I think, her second super speedway experience at the famed, legendary Talladega Motor Speedway. Joining us, Taylor Reimer. Taylor, welcome back.
Hello. Thank you for having me back on. I feel like I was just here.
I know you were, but you were on before the race, and then I saw how good you did in the race. So I said, we got to have Taylor back on and talk about it. So you went to Talladega, first experience there. Talladega's a different place. I saw you did something on social media where you walked up with a banking. I mean, it looked like that was quite a hard walk to do. I mean, to get up to the top there. So tell us all about Talladega, practice. What did you think? How did the race go? Take it away, Taylor.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for having me on.
You're welcome.
Talladega was really, really fun. I enjoyed it. I raced Daytona earlier in the year. We had a mechanical issue, so I didn't get to finish the race. But I was really excited to come to Talladega to try and, get a good finish there. And yeah, as you were saying, I posted on my social media. I kind of ran up the track, like we did a little video, and Talladega's 33 degrees of banking, which is wild. TV does not do it justice. I said that in the video, but it really doesn't. Like, until you're there in person and seeing it for the first time and you walk into the corners, you're like, oh my God, like it's very, very banked. So just for fun, I was like, I'm going to see if I can run up it. And I didn't even try to walk. I kind of like tried to jog a little bit. And then when I was coming back down, I was like, it was steep. I was like, had my hands out, making sure that I didn't fall over and hurt myself before the race. But we had a lot of fun at Talladega. It was based off of owners' points from this year, so we rolled off 6th, and we were running 4th, I think, for the first 30 laps or so. Really, really good. And then on the restart, we all came down in pit. One person decided to stay out, and then on the restart, we got the car in front of me and we both got a penalty for jumping out of line before the start-finish line. And both got sent to the back, had to serve that penalty. And then I think we restarted probably 29th at that point.
Oh, man.
And we had to make our way back through the field. So it took us a little bit. I wish we had some more green flag runs. We had a lot of cautions and red flags, and just needed some more time to get, closer to the front there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you did a great job. I was so glad that you did that video of running up the track. The TV doesn't do the track justice.
Yeah.
And I think years ago, I remember Michael Waltrip did that. He hiked up to the top of and I'm like, it's amazing to see the banking. How does that feel when you're driving the car? I mean, that's steepest banking anywhere. How does that feel?
So when you're in the car, it really doesn't feel as bad as it looks.
Really?
Like when I was running up it, I was like, wow, we really drive on this much banking. But when you're in the car, it feels flatter, honestly.
Really?
So just seeing it and running up it, I was like, wow, like this is crazy. Behind the wheel, it doesn't feel that much different. Just because you're going so fast, I guess it's so quick, like it doesn't really feel as banked as it looks.
Super fast track. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Alex, you can check me on this, but I think the world closed course record is still held at Talladega, and I think it was Mark Donohue driving a Porsche twin turbo 917 that set that record, and it just and that's why they wouldn't race Indy cars there or Daytona. It's just. The cars would go too fast. It would it wouldn't be safe. So now, for you, obviously, whether you're driving at an oval, a small oval, short oval track, or Talladega, you're going faster in your ARCA car, right? At Talladega, how was that sensation for you?
Yeah, it's so, and I think I might have said this earlier, but whenever I practice at Daytona for the first time, when you're out there by yourself, it really doesn't feel super fast. Until you're actually out there with 40 other cars around you, that's when you're like, oh my goodness, because you have the wind and people's air, like it affecting your car and just kind of pulling you around. So it definitely feels a lot faster when you're around other people, for sure.
So I've never had a chance to drive on a track like that. I've never driven that fast before. I try to describe people, though, from what I've heard from other drivers, that like if you're on a road, you're driving a highway, and a truck comes up alongside of you doing like 20 miles an hour faster, and your car goes like this because of the wind. Is that a common feeling in racing?
Yes, that would be a good example. I would also say when you're going into the corners, because the banking, and it drops you down into your seat, and your spine literally like compresses, and so you're into the corner and you're like this, and then when it straightens back out, you like extend back up, and that feels like a roller coaster to me. Like whenever your stomach drops when you go on a roller coaster, like that's how it feels when you go in the corner. Like your stomach, like you literally fully like crouch down in the seat, and then you come back up, and I mean you're harnessed in and everything, but it's still just like the feeling of going into the corner and you're just crunched out. It's crazy.
So no cheeseburgers with onions or chili dogs before the race then, huh?
I'm trying to think of what I had. I honestly don't remember. I struggle to eat before my races just because my nerves and but obviously it's very important to fuel your body before the race. So I kind of struggle with that a little bit.
So temps weren't too bad in the car driving that race?
It wasn't, no. I had my cool suit too, but I was shocked that we even got the race in. I didn't think because the weather looked really, really bad, and they already had a rain out plan, and I went to bed that night like fully convinced that we were either going to have to race Sunday morning or even Monday morning if O'Reilly got rained out too. But somehow we got it in. Cup qualifying rained out that morning, and there was no more rain on the forecast. Like it was just super, super cloudy, very humid. Like it was like kind of sticky and hot, but it wasn't anything crazy. Nothing like nothing like Elko in the middle of summer heat. That's when it's like crazy. Yeah.
So you didn't have the chance to drive on it was a clean track after the rain, right? So you wouldn't have anything to compare it against. Did any other drivers talk to you about difference of what it would be like once with rubber down versus a clean track, or did it matter? Or
I mean, I think they completely cleaned it off with like I think it was completely normal.
Any hold your breath moments, getting past, passing, drafting?
So the difference from running, there were actually a couple, but the difference from running in the front of the pack where you're wide open the whole time, not lifting, versus you're in the back of the pack, I was lifting and dragging brake at the same time, just trying to navigate, and it's a lot more hectic in the back, as you could assume. But definitely just like everyone's is a lot more, it's just everything's happening a lot quicker when you're in the back, and everyone's bouncing around, moving around, so trying to like figure out which lane I want to be in, versus when I was running in the front, I was just like holding it on the line, getting bored almost. I was like, okay,
really?
Wow. But we were passing a lot of lap traffic too, so that made it a little bit more fun, having to like blend up and then come back down. But There were a couple big wrecks that we were able to make
I
it
saw.
through. There were a couple of those. Whenever I had to serve my penalty, me and Jack, we did a green flag pit stop, and at Talladega, we got like 3 laps of practice the day before. So, I've also never green flag pit stopped. You don't do that in ARCA.
Right.
So when we had to serve that penalty, like when you get down to the apron, you have to slow down really, really fast. Like the closing rate is super, super quick.
Okay.
And I got I was following the car. We blended off the line. And he slowed down a lot quicker than I did. And the super speedway cars, the brakes aren't that good. So I was hauling it in behind him. I actually hit him going into the first sector. It caused us to have a speeding penalty. So we had to go through again. But I thought I was going to wreck going on to pit road. Like I just have never done it before. I mean, when you
because of the hard deceleration.
Yes, yeah. So when you go from 180 miles an hour and you have to get down to the speed limit's probably 60 on pit road, and you do not have that long to do it, like the brakes don't work well. I was hard on the brakes, trying to avoid not running into the back of him. It was crazy. I really did think I was going to wreck on pit road. So that was probably the biggest one. But that one was crazy.
Hey, guys, we're going to take a real quick break and then finish up with Taylor. I got more questions. Taylor Reimer's our guest, so don't go away. We're back.
Speed Sport 1 is red hot this weekend as the IHRA Outlaw Nitro Series is back with Round 3 at Torana Raceway, Hebron, Ohio. It's the IHRA Spring Nationals. Live coverage on Thursday will be on Speed Sport 2 starting at 9 a.m. Eastern. On Friday afternoon, Speed Sport 1 will pick up the action of Pro Mod and Top Fuel qualifying at 3:30 Eastern. And on Saturday, Pro Mod and Top Fuel finals will begin at 1:30 Eastern. Go to speedsport1.com for details and viewing options.
All right, welcome back. Pitch Open, Will Marotti, your host. Alex Smith, our producer engineer, and our guest, multiple-time guest now, Taylor Reimer is with us. Had a great experience at Talladega a couple weeks ago, and so I'm glad you could come back on because I really want to talk to you, get your experience from that. So you talk about so hard deceleration is. What do you think about the pit stop itself? I mean, you haven't done green flag pit stop. You did. What did you think? Was it cool?
It was cool, but after I had to do that, I was like, okay, I need to reset my mind. Clear everything because you have to go straight back out. Like we weren't actually pitting. We were just having to serve the penalty, so you had to go through the pits. I was like, wow, it's crazy how the Cup guys do this every single weekend. And your markers are always going to be different from track to track. Like Talladega is not the same as the short track, where Daytona, even like everywhere is going to be different. So, it's not shocking that speeding penalties happen quite often. Like it's not really surprising after having to do it myself and doing it out of the blue. Like it was very overwhelming, but it definitely gave me good practice for if I have to do it in the future, just because you don't get to practice that. Like when we practiced at Talladega, you're in a drafting group and I think we got 5 minutes. So we probably got 4 or 5 laps. That's all the practice ARCA got. And
I mean, is that normal or is that,
no,
why wouldn't you get
the
more?
ARCA series.
For
They
ARCA,
just want
it's normal,
to, yeah. So like the only real reason why they even give us any at all is just to make sure that our car runs and you don't have any issues. And in our group, we actually had someone, they had some issue and completely like oil was all over the track. So our group actually only ended up getting like 3 minutes total.
Oh man. Wow.
So it's definitely, it was crazy.
So I'll talk about sponsorship for a while because you had some sponsor opportunities available on the car before the race. But I mean, you've been racing for a long time, but I would think is that a moment where racing at Talladega so fabled, so fast, so different? Is there any point during that race where you're like, this is why I do this. It's so cool. Did you think that at all, or were you too busy?
Yeah. So Daytona, I feel like a lot of the races I put a lot of pressure on myself to perform well. So my goal going into Talladega was to just have more fun than I did at Daytona. Like you have to have a good balance of being focused. When the time's time, but then having fun at the same time. And I really, really enjoyed Talladega,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, yeah, this, like you said, this is
Yeah.
exactly why I do this.
Good. Good.
And Daytona, I was like, I didn't love the whole drafting thing, but I think it's just because like I hadn't ever done it before, and once we went back to Talladega, I felt a lot more comfortable. And I actually enjoy super speedway.
So it was a more familiar drafting and the whole aerodynamic thing and the wind, the side drafting that was more familiar to you because of the Daytona experience.
Just running Daytona and then prepping differently for
Yeah.
Talladega as well. Like knowing where you're going to start, you kind of have an idea of who you're going to be around, and it just going back to a track is really, really big for me, and getting that those laps before. Yeah.
And you'll feel next time you race at Talladega, you'll feel more confident even, I bet.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Each time, I feel like each time I go, I get more and more comfortable and more confident.
So your car was were you driving? You weren't driving car 77, were you?
I was, yeah.
Oh, it's my favorite number.
Yeah,
I won't go into why, but there's so many reasons that's my favorite number. I noticed, I don't know if you put it up or JP put it up, but there was some sponsorship opportunities still available. And I guess you filled some of that. How did that work?
Yeah, yep. So I had the deck lid available and then the lower quarter panel, and I posted on my social media. I wanted to do like a video for people if, smaller sponsors that may not have a lot of funding to be able to give, but still want to be a part of the race. So I posted on my social media a little video, and it had really, really good turnout. Like I had lots of emails. I actually had to turn some people down, which I felt bad. But we did 10 spots on the deck lid, and it was overwhelming the amount of people that reached out. And I've already had people, like, are you doing this again? So I will be doing it again for the rest of my races this year, hopefully.
No kidding. Good for you.
Just doing the same thing. I like to have small businesses on board. So it was really, really fun getting to work with different people and, having their logo on board. And it was awesome.
So you've had some good experiences this year in ARCA. What's coming up next for you?
So my next race, I have a late model race at Hickory, locally here in North Carolina, and that's on June 13th. And then I have Berlin and Elko short tracks in June as well. So June is full of racing.
Good.
Unfortunately, I don't have any races this month, but June we have a lot on the schedule.
Well, you'll have to go to Indy then. Have you been to the 500?
I haven't, no. I do want to go to the
you gotta go.
When is it?
Come on. Memorial Day weekend, May 23rd, I believe, a Sunday. Yeah.
Oh, so that'll be Charlotte weekend for NASCAR. So I'll
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. And that was always the double, right? People wanted to do John Andretti. I think John Andretti, first person to do it, ran Indy and then flew to Charlotte and ran the 600 that night. So that's the big double that not many people have done. I think Tony Stewart's done it, but
yeah, I think
cool.
Kyle Larson did it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I have raced inside Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I raced on the dirt track a couple years
cool.
ago, and that was really, really fun. But Indy 500 is definitely on my bucket list for sure.
Good, excellent. And that was what'd you do? It was a BC 39?
Yes,
yeah, that's a cool race.
Yeah, it was.
Well, listen, I am so grateful that you came back on.
Yeah.
We won't have you on for a while now. We'll wait maybe the season's going. But I had to talk to you after Talladega. So excited for you. So thank you so much for coming on, and best wishes for the rest of the career. And maybe I don't know, maybe I'll bump into you somewhere at a track somewhere. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Of course. Thank you for having me back.
Thanks so much. Taylor Reimer, everybody. Thank you. Okay, hey, that's a wrap for us. Good show. Alex, great job. Rick was on. Rick Schaeffer, the great IndyCar author. And so we've got a lot of exciting. Now, again, if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, we are only releasing SVS Insiders, which is the portal to the larger Speedway Venture Studio effort to help drivers and teams reduce their sponsorship dependency. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter yet, please do so. Go to our website, thepitsareopen.com. Very quick, on top of the banner, there's a banner on top of the page. Click on that. You'll sign up for the website, and you'll be able to stay in tune with what we're doing and when we release and open the SVS Insiders building. It's a spot for builders. It's not a fan site necessarily. We're not accepting fans, but it's really for drivers, for coaches, parents of young drivers, team managers, team owners, maybe potential sponsors. So look for that. You're going to love it. It's going to have incredibly helpful information, and you'll be part of something larger. You'll be part of a community that is going to hopefully help change how much of funding happens in motorsports.
Can they still leave a voice message too? Is
They
that
can
still there?
still leave a voice message. If you go to, thank you, Alex. If you go to our website, Pits Are Open, you'll see at the bottom right-hand corner a microphone icon, either blue or purple, microphone icon. If you click on that, you can leave a voice message. If you have questions, that will get directly to us. We respond to every one of those. So you've got the opportunity to do that as well. All right, hey, thanks so much, Speed Sport 1. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. Have a great rest of your week. We love you. God bless you. Bye.